All right, y'all, if y'all remember, this PC is one that I recently put together that did not work. This was basically a salvage PC where I saved some parts out of an old build and I wanted to turn them into a new low-powered budget gaming PC. This is the Gamdias Talos E3. This is the mesh version. I previously built the one that had tempered glass here on the front, but that wasn't the issue. The issue, I believe, is this motherboard. This is a super cheap Asrock H310. I'm guessing that it needs some sort of BIOS update to be able to work with this specific chip, the 9400F. This is a cheap B365 motherboard that I got off of eBay. It's used. If this still doesn't work after all of this, it may be just me introducing another part of failure. But before we get started, I wanted to do some basic troubleshooting. Also, thanks to some tips and suggestions that you guys left. First things first, I wanted to check to make sure that the monitor and the actual HDMI cable that I was using was working. So what I did is I plugged that up to my Steam Deck with an adapter. It powered up, came on, and you know, kind of lost like an hour playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm trying to finish that game and the story is getting real good, so please forgive me. So first and foremost, what I'm going to do with this system is actually make sure that all the cables are in here correctly. I believe since it got power that might not be a problem, but it's always good to do a double check. Secondly, what I want to do is reseat the RAM and the GPU to make sure that those were in there correctly. And if none of that still works, I'm guessing, like I guessed before, that it's this motherboard. And we'll go ahead and switch it out for this baby right here. Grab my screwdriver. Let's get the GPU out of here. So let's reseat the RAM. Now, when it comes to reseating, you just want to make sure that you installed everything properly. 9 times out of 10, if you hear that click, you're good. Reseat the GPU. While I'm at it, I'm going to also make sure all my cables are plugged in. 24 pin is in, CPU power is in. All right, now let's go ahead and plug it in and see if we get any power. HDMI into the GPU. Let me hit the switch right here and the power switch. So we get spinning up on the fans. So that just means that we're getting power through the board, but we're not getting any output. Let's go ahead and do the motherboard swap and see what's good from there. I don't even remember what I ordered. I definitely didn't order a MSI Pro B650. Let's just go ahead and see if this is what it's supposed to be. What is this here? This is a Gigabyte Z370M DS3H. I don't think that's what I ordered. Wow. What I ordered was a Gigabyte B365M. And when you actually look at the motherboard itself, it shows what I have here, which is a Gigabyte Z370M. I was hoping to get a B365 only because out of the box, those came supporting 9th gen without any type of BIOS updates. So I guess all we could do now is throw it in here and see if it works.
One eternity later.
All right, I know you're expecting to see footage of a PC being put together, but as you could probably guess, it did not work. So in the end, I just want to see this PC built, and I got a plan for that. Ride with me. Ooh, it's hot, but the package is secured. Big thanks to my homie John of John's Films. He blessed me with an old motherboard and CPU combo that he was actually just freeing up. So right now we have a Ryzen 2700X, and then we have an Asrock Taichi Ultimate, the X470 version. This motherboard is fire. I might put this in my main build, you know, because this is crazy. And technically, it's still a salvage build because, you know, how the other ones were salvaged from one PC, this was actually salvaged from his old server. So we're going to take this to the house, put this in, and see if we can get this PC finally up and running. Again, I gotta give a big shout out to the homie John of John's Films. Make sure you go check out his channel, man. I'm gonna leave a link to that down below. Do that for a favor to your boy. So when it comes to the Salvage PC, technically this is still salvage because the motherboard and the CPU were salvaged from another system. It just wasn't the original plan, but hey, you know, we make things happen. Now let's quickly talk about building in the Talos 300 mesh. For the price, I didn't see any major red flags. There might be some small QC issues, but there's nothing that should keep anybody from wanting to build in this case. Now the cable management may not look the best to you, but I was actually quite proud of myself. I took the time to actually plan out my routes. I use a massive amount of zip ties. There was no problem with everything fitting nicely, so you have optimal space to cable manage the right way if you so choose to, and you're gonna need it if you use something similar to the Gamdias kit that I put in here. It came with 4 fans and 2 light strips. Woo, that was a lot of cables to manage. Also right here, I gotta take a few points off because these fans are super loud. If you do decide to build in an all mesh case, I would suggest on getting much quieter fans if that bothers you. For me, it's not a big deal once music is playing and I'm gaming. Speaking of gaming, first we jumped into everybody's favorite CSGO. I mean, this is exactly why this card is the most popular card on Steam. Even at 1440p, you're getting pretty good FPS for a sweaty first-person shooter like this. And don't be out here judging me on my gameplay, all right? Don't do that. Switching gears, like what I did there, we jump into a little bit of Rocket League. Again, another fun esports game that won't really put a tax on your system. You know, look at me about the score right here. It's about to come up, you know what I'm saying? I do what I do, you know? Don't be hating. Keeping with the esports theme, I jumped into a little Apex Legends. And yes, you can see here that 1080p, yes, we're not getting the most FPS, but nothing that will slow down your actual game experience. You could go in and adjust the settings if you really wanted to, maybe play on the pro settings to get the absolute best FPS. Now to switch things all the way up, I wanted to try a AAA title, and I said, why not go for the most demanding, most popular game of the moment, Starfield, where it doesn't feel super amazing. It kind of gives you that old school like PS3 feel. Now outside during the gunfight, we only could get about 20 FPS, and this is at 1080p with everything set on low and FSR turned on. From what I've seen, even if you have a much more powerful machine, this game is still taxing. So to wrap it up, I gotta say I had a fun time putting all this together. I haven't really had to scrap and scrape to put together PC parts in a while, so the way that this came out was more than satisfactory. Now going forward, I do plan on selling this PC, and since that combination of the 2700X and GTX1650 is not the best, I'll probably throw in my old 2080 Super into this machine, give somebody a much more powerful, robust system for gaming and productivity. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and never forget to holla at your boy.